the year 1933, the Blessed Virgin Mary chose an 11-year-old child to reveal herself as the Virgin of the Poor. Our Lady came to relieve the sick and to relieve suffering. Our Mother's message is one of healing. The apparitions of Banu could be seen as a renewal of the message of Lourdes. In this video, we'll see the beautiful history of Our Lady of Banu, Virgin of the Poor. Banu is a poor farm village built around its church, located in the province of Liege, Belgium. There was a family known as Biko family in Banu. It was a Catholic family, but was not a pious one. In this family was born Mariette Biko on March 25 in the year 1921 on the feast of the Annunciation. She is the oldest of 7 children. As her family rarely attended Mass, neither did Mariette. There was nothing in the house of a religious nature. Nevertheless, Mariette had a small image of Mother Mary on her nightstand, and she had a rosary which she found on the road, and she occasionally prayed it before going to sleep. It was the winter of 1933. It was dark, around 7 in the evening. Mariette sat by the front window of her house looking for her brother Julian, who was late returning home. As she was staring into the darkness, Mariette suddenly saw a lady standing in their front garden surrounded by a bright light. The lady was short, about 5 feet tall, and exceptionally beautiful. The lady was not dressed like any of the ladies from the village. She wore a long white gown with a blue sash. One of her feet could be seen. The lady was barefoot with just a gold rose in between her toes. Mariette noticed that the bright lady stood just above the ground, sort of on a cloud. Even though the 11-year-old noticed everything, she thought that the bright figure was probably the reflection of the oil lamp. Then she took the oil lamp from the table and put it on another room. Then she went back to the window and looked out. But the bright lady was still there. Then Mariette called her mother and showed her, but her mother couldn't see and ignored her. The child Mariette noticed that the beautiful lady had a rosary hanging from the blue sash. Then Mariette took her rosary, which she found, and began to pray. After praying a few decades, the lady raised her hand and motioned with her finger for Mariette to come outside. The young Mariette asked permission to leave the house, but her mother did not let her out. By the time Mariette returned to the window, the lady had disappeared. For the next 2 days, Our Lady of Banu did not return. On this day, Mariette managed to leave the house and went to the front garden. She then starts to pray the rosary, kneeling in the dark. The Blessed Virgin Mary appears in a distance. A few meters away from the lady was Mariette, praying. This lasted for about 20 minutes. Then the beautiful lady motions Mariette to follow her. Obeying the Blessed Virgin, Mariette followed her and arrived at a small stream that was running slowly. Then Our Lady said, "Put your hands in the water." Mariette carefully puts her hands into the water. "This fountain is reserved for me. Good night, goodbye." Then the Blessed Virgin disappeared. Nobody believed Mariette except her father. He accompanied her to the garden ever then. On this day, around the same time, 7 p.m., the Blessed Virgin appeared again to Mariette. Mariette asked, "Who are you, beautiful lady?" The Blessed Virgin answered her, "I am the Virgin of the Poor." Then Our Lady took her to the spring they went yesterday and said, "This spring is reserved for all the nations to bring comfort to the sick." And before leaving, Our Lady said, "I will pray for you. Goodbye." On this fourth apparition, Mariette was not feeling well due to sickness and cold. On this day, around 6:45 p.m., the apparition took place. On this apparition, the priest of their church and 2 journalists were present. Mariette asked Our Lady, "Beautiful lady, what are your wishes?" Our Blessed Virgin answered, "I would like a small chapel built." Then Our Lady imposed her hands on Mariette and traced the sign of the cross over her head. At the end of the apparition, Mariette lost consciousness. The next following days until February 11, the apparition stopped. But Mariette continued to pray the rosary in the garden despite the intense cold, and she believed that the Virgin of the Poor would return. On February 11 at 7 p.m., Mariette was praying the rosary, and as she reached the fifth decade of the second set of mysteries, Our Lady appeared in a bright light like the other times. Mariette then went to the spring and dipped the tip of her cross of her rosary. Then the Blessed Virgin said, "I come to alleviate sufferings." The Blessed Virgin also said that it would be pleasing to her if Mariette made her first communion. The following day, Mariette received first communion. The priest wanted some kind of a sign that this was really the Virgin Mary. On this apparition, Mariette asked Our Lady, "Holy Mother, Father Jamin asked me to ask you to give us a sign." Our Lady answered, "Believe in me and I will believe in you. Pray very much. Goodbye." Our Lady then entrusted Mariette with a secret. It was bitterly cold. Mariette was praying the rosary in the garden. At the end of the sorrowful mysteries, Our Lady came and said, "My dear child, pray very much." On this day, there were 5 witnesses. It was raining from 3 p.m. Mariette was reciting her first rosary. The rain stopped. Our Lady came. Suddenly, Mariette grew quiet and extended her arms. Our Lady looked more beautiful than ever before her visits. But Our Lady did not smile. Her face was very serious. Then Our Lady said, "I am the Mother of the Savior, the Mother of God. Pray very much." Then she imposed her hands on Mariette and blessed her with the sign of the cross. Our Lady then said, "Goodbye till we meet in God." Mariette understood that this would be Our Lady's final appearance to her. Mariette bowed down to earth. So this was a beautiful history of Our Lady of Banu, the Virgin of the Poor. Thank you so much for watching.